So as is often the case with the best natural herbs out there and the healthiest natural supplements, they have a common character between them, and we call that character pleiotropic. What does that mean? Well, that means that any one of these substances, when we ingest them, we make a tea out of them, when we make a tincture out of them, when we add them to like some really cool tasty elixir or smoothie, however you want to do it, whenever you eat it, it has a multitude of the beneficial effects in our body that are seemingly unrelated. Like, how can one substance do so many different things? Anyway, we call that substance, or we say it has a nature that's pleiotropic. That means it just affects all kinds of things. And honestly, it has less to do with the supplement's nature or the herb's nature and more to do with our nature. We are, systemically, we are holistic beings. That means, this is a cliche, but we are interconnected. We have every piece, nook and cranny of our body is physically attached by like a spider web thing to every other nook and cranny and piece of fiber of our bodies. So natural herbs and supplements are kind of slightly more powerful. They have more potency to them. And the best ones, as I said earlier, are pleiotropic in nature. So they just can do all kinds of things in our body. So let's talk about DIM, diindolylmethane. Just really quick, it's a natural supplement from cruciferous vegetables. Enough said. Anyway, it's cool, it's safe. So the repertoire of DIM is pretty cool, pretty big, but let's keep this video kind of short. My goal is 5 minutes. I'm not really good at that, but my goal is 5 minutes. So to keep it simple, we're gonna just briefly talk about cancer and really quick. You can't talk about cancer briefly. It's kind of a complicated subject. However, I'm gonna do it quickly. So it's good with a cancer adjunct. It's great for hormones. So anybody going through puberty, andropause, menopause, it's great for that. And then another aspect that has to do with cancer is reawakening kind of the immune system. And anyway, so that's basically all I'm gonna focus on in this video, hopefully. So real quick, preface. DIM will not cure your cancer, and I'm not telling you, oh, if you have cancer, DIM will cure your cancer. But I am saying that DIM has shown some effectiveness in laboratories and in research against cancer. Now, I need to qualify that word, effectiveness. What does that even mean? So when we're talking about cancer, one way that we even know that we have cancer is we grow a tumor. This area is where DIM has shown some sort of effectiveness. Because if we didn't have a tumor, we probably wouldn't have no idea that we even have a cancerous process taking place in our body. We would probably feel like crap, yeah, but not so much as having a tumor. Why are tumors bad? Obvious reason, you can just say, yeah, a tumor's bad, but why are they bad? Well, as they grow, they cut off blood supply to an area just outside of that, making that area what's known as ischemic. That's just the technical term when one area of the body is losing blood supply. So it's starving for oxygen, starving for nutrients, and as the tumor is growing, it's also blocking off lymph. It's a very fundamental fluid that travels throughout our body. Our immune system uses it. All of our cells dump their toxic waste into it. So as the cancer's growing, it's blocking off that detoxification pathway. It's blocking off blood supply to one area just on the other side of it or around it. And then it also creates a lot of pain because as that tumor grows, it's pressing upon nerve cells, and those nociceptive nerve cells, those cells that let us know something is painful. So there's all types of problems associated with the tumor. Now, DIM has shown effectiveness against the tumor. And how has it shown types of being effective? Well, as I said, tumors must grow, and it's this word grow that DIM kind of just is a wrench and it throws it in the gears and just kind of blocks everything up. So if we remember back in high school, we were learning that cells like to divide, and that process is called mitosis, and there's 4 phases of it. Well, one of the very, very first phases is called the G1 phase, and as a cancer is about to divide, or the cells are about to divide, the cell knows it needs to amass proteins. It's about to build an entirely new cell. There's a cytoskeleton, an internal structure that holds the cell together, and the cell knows it's going to need a lot of proteins for this, so it starts amassing them. Well, in order to do that, it's got to be organized, and so the cancerous cell stimulates this master conductor. It's called cyclin D1. This is like a master regulator that helps the cell go through the 4 stages of mitosis and just grow into a nice tumor, Anyway, so Dim comes along, sees this cyclin D1, and he's like, yo, dude, go to sleep. We don't really need you active right now. I have a feeling that something's fishy that's going on here. Let me investigate, and you take a chill pill. Well, that's what happens. So the tumor just stops growing. Now, this isn't I do need to say that not all cancers are the same. So far, the research, the laboratories, Dim's been tested against colorectal cancer, oral, esophageal cancer, breast, prostate, endometrial cancer, and leukemic cells. And in this process, or the growing of a tumor in these types of cancers, Dim comes along and just shuts off that cyclin D1. Now, and remember, that's the master regulator, the guy who's the conductor up there, doing whatever. So there's one area where the cancer just has a more difficult time growing because their master conductor is non-efficient. Not only that, but let's say that the master conductor is working just fine. As the tumor grows, it still has to have blood supply. So we have natural processes in our body, which is basically the ability to create new blood pathways. This is called angiogenesis. The tumor creates these hormones, these enzymes that create new blood flow, new blood pathways to feed itself. As it grows, it needs larger and larger quantities of blood. Well, Dim comes along, and it's anti-angiogenic. So that means it produces the opposite substance that allows new blood supplies to the tumors. So Dim is effective against certain types of tumors because it prevents blood flow. Now, just as another preface, no, Dim will not cure your cancer, but it is used as a cancer adjunct. Now, I also mentioned earlier that Dim is useful for kind of turning on an immune system when it's kind of in a state of stasis. And why would that be? Now, if you've ever grown a plant, for example, and let's say you set it outside and then it was going to be really cold that night and you weren't aware of it, basically you'll understand that the plant will go into shock. Basically, it doesn't like how cold the area is, and it just stops being active. It's not responding to stimuli the same way after it went through that cold night. When you water it, if you have any connection to plants or whatever, you would understand that. And our immune cells are the same way. When we have too much crap floating around in our body, our immune cells get overwhelmed and they stop functioning appropriately. One case why that would be is when we have cancer, and I said there's a tumor growing in one area of the body and it's blocking that lymph flow, crap accumulates around that area, and it just is so overwhelming to the immune system, it just shuts off. Or in the same way, if there's so much free radical damage in one area, that can shut off our immune cells. Our immune cells are unique. They have character. It's almost like an animal. You get to know your dog. It has a unique character. Or if you're into horses, you understand the character of your horse. Your immune system's the same way. So when somebody is going through a cancer treatment, oftentimes their immune system just kind of stops functioning. or it's not as strong, nearly as strong as it ought to be. And it wasn't as strong before to even allow that tumor to grow, the whole reason why we understand that we have cancer anyway. So DIM is unique, and it stimulates our bone marrow to start working again and create stem cells. At the same time, it reawakens our immune system, which is really, really awesome. Now, you know, in industrialized nations, and even in non-industrialized nations, now we are exposed to a lot of xenoestrogens, i.e. plasticizers and plastics, and then this herbicide called glyphosate. Long story short, our body sees that stuff as estrogen, and when we ingest it, you know, intentionally or unintentionally, glyphosate is everywhere. Plastic is everywhere. So we are inundated with these xenoestrogens. Just everybody's exposed to it. So we need ways to get rid of that stuff. The reason why we need to get rid of it is because it creates estrogen dominance, which is just not good. Okay, so basically, guys, it's going to make you soft. It'll make your erection soft. It's going to take away your strength. It'll also desensitize yourselves to insulin. It leads to, you know, cystic acne. Girls, you'll get weight gain just randomly, and it's going to aggravate you, or there's just all kinds of bad things happen when we are estrogen dominant. And, you know, one particular area of that estrogen dominance is just our testosterone starts to go down. In girls, it'll be your progesterone and your testosterone too. But our hormones are designed to keep our immune system strong, our muscles strong, and our brain active. And our body uses, in part, testosterone for that. And with all the glyphosate, plasticizers, and the plastic coming into our body, it just totally screws up our hormones. And DIM is really, really good for correcting that process because it interacts with this enzyme called aromatase. And the funny thing is, when we have too much testosterone, a lot of times our body will turn that into estrogen. So when we have high estrogen, our body thinks we actually have high testosterone. So our testosterone continues to go down and down and down, and our estrogen levels just go up and up and up. So we have that aromatase enzyme that's putting us in this cycle, and we're feeding the cycle from the outside with that glyphosate and those other xenoestrogens from plastic. Anyway, it just totally screws up our hormones. You know, our hair won't work right, our thyroid's not going to work right. We'll have really oily skin, acne, our bones will be brittle, not super strong, all kinds of things. And DIM is such a wonderful substance. I have found you will see such a difference in your life. If your hormones are all like this and you start adding DIM, it starts balancing that aromatase enzyme, and it starts activating certain pathways in our body to eliminate those xenoestrogens. So we're getting a more natural hormone profile, naturally produced in us, and we're kicking those xenoestrogens out. DIM is excellent for that. So far we've covered it's pretty cool and interesting to use as a cancer adjunct. And it's also pretty cool and interesting to use as a natural hormone helper, a hormone regulator, which is what we absolutely need if you live in an industrialized nation. One quick other thing, it's really, really good for athletes. And so we have these immune system regulators, they're called cytokines. And it's interesting how the body, we still don't know so much, but there's this substance called a myokine, it's interleukin 6, and if your immune cells produce it, it creates inflammation. What's inflammation? Well, it's just swelling, redness, pain, and discomfort, or it leads to other processes that totally shut off the immune system or shut off our antioxidant network in some way. Bad. Or it can lead to autoimmunity, or it can lead to allergies. Bad. So that's when our immune system makes it. But it's such an interesting thing. If something else makes it, it has the exact opposite effect. So when we're exercising, our muscles actually produce things called myokine, and these are immune system modulators. And they basically tell our immune system, hey, you need to calm down a little bit. And if you watch any of my other videos, I'm all about calming down, prioritizing, bringing into alignment our immune system, because I'm all about energy. I want energy. And one of the biggest things that takes our energy away is an uneducated immune system, overactive immune system. Anyway, so DIM activates this certain pathway that causes us to produce more interleukin-6, which in this particular unique case is a nice, natural, systemic anti-inflammatory. So we're getting cancer adjunct, we're getting hormone profiles balanced, and we're getting natural anti-inflammatories produced in our body that help calm our immune system down. DIM's really cool. I like it, and I definitely recommend it. You should check it out.